Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.
Hello, I'm Lori Steiner. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, we'll tune in to the benefits of telemedicine. Then, ride along as we tackle a few trails made accessible to everyone. We'll track down the latest dental techniques to help you begin to grin again. Plus, what does the Twilight Zone have to teach us? We'll offer inspirational ideas. And we'll present new protections for nursing home residents.
It's time to get geoing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. We know technology has changed the way we live and work, but it has also changed medicine and the treatment we receive. Dr. James Mooney has joined us in the UH Broadcast Center to tune us into telemedicine. Dr. Mooney is the Chief Medical Officer at University Hospital Samaritan Medical Center. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So what is telemedicine or telehealth?
So very simply, it's the use of telecommunications technology to improve someone's health. So that could be something as simple as Googling about a personal health issue. You could be receiving notifications from the Center for Disease Control about population health issues, maybe like the flu or hepatitis. Or you might be using email between a patient and a provider.
So we're talking actually like telesurgery, where the patient is one place and a doctor is someplace else, robotically or something, directing the surgery?
Not at this point. Basically, the technology that we're going to be using relates to the communication between a patient and a provider across long distances. So I work in a small community hospital. What this gives us is the opportunity to connect the resources of a major medical center with a smaller community hospital.
So how does it actually work?
Well, so keep in mind that in emergency medicine, they've been using telemedicine for a long time in the diagnosis and treatment of stroke. So we tried to expand that into the outpatient area in areas like neurology with the help of Dr. Anthony Furlan, with the help of Dr. Warren Selman in neurosurgery, Dr. Anthony Post in the area of liver failure medicine, and Dr. Alexis Powell in vascular medicine. A patient will come to their primary care physician's office. They'll make an appointment. We schedule that through our system down at University Hospital Samaritan Medical Center. We begin to share medical records, so it's very important that the provider has the opportunity to see medications, labs, x-ray.
Sure. The
patient comes to the appointment. They are at our facility in Ashland, and they communicate with somebody here in Cleveland.
Okay, via like they're Skyping each other,
very
sort
much
of
so.
like
the
that.
Technology is virtually the same, yes.
Because otherwise, that poor patient would have to make a long trip into the hospital to see that specialist.
Yeah, that's very true. And we also have to remember that patients with chronic medical illnesses, they don't feel well. So that travel time is very challenging for them. The distance is very challenging. So the opportunity to do the subspecialty care close to home provides them an opportunity to access care that they otherwise would probably have much more difficulty doing so.
Wow, it sounds great for the patients. Are there other benefits?
Yeah, the patients absolutely love it. Yeah, the benefits, there's multiple other benefits. Apart from providing better access, it allows us to standardize processes across the health system. Keep in mind that we have 14 hospitals in our University Hospital health system. So if we have the opportunity to standardize the resources and provide improved quality of care, then your value improves. So certainly the payers are very interested in that, because if it decreases the costs, clearly they're going to be very interested in participating. And then lastly, once you standardize the process, it's very easy to duplicate that process and then actually use that for other areas of medicine.
It sounds like this is going to be the future.
Well, let's hope so, because in decreasing costs and standardizing the quality of care, I really do believe you're absolutely right.
All right. Sounds great for all of us and our viewers. Telemedicine at university hospitals is improving diagnosis and treatment throughout the hospital systems. And who benefits the most from this innovative approach? The patients. My thanks to Dr. Mooney for tuning us into telemedicine technology.
Learn more by calling the Center for Lifelong Health at University Hospitals at 1-844-312-LIFE. That's 5433. Or visit their website, www.uhhospitals.org/lifelonghealth. Next, taking to the trails. But first, the ruby red slippers Dorothy wore in the Wizard of Oz made film fashion history. But if they had gone by the book, the slippers would have come out a different color. So what shade did the author originally have as a shoe-in? We'll read out the answer when we return.
What does the first year of President Trump mean if you have $500,000 or more to invest? It means unique challenges and exceptional opportunities. I'm Jim Lineweaver, president of Lineweaver Wealth Advisors. Our complimentary new panel discussion and dinner is a must-attend for qualified investors. It's packed with strategies to preserve and grow wealth under the new administration, offered by 3 experts with more than 30 combined years of financial, tax, and estate planning experience. Please join us at award-winning Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse at Crocker Park in Westlake. Seating is limited, so call today. The number is on your screen, or you can visit us online at lineweaver.net.
L. Ron Bohm, author of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, selected silver for the slippers color. They were changed to ruby red for the film to tap into the new trend of Technicolor.
For some, circumstances have circumvented their quest to commune with nature. If mobility issues have kept you off the beaten path, Dan Maxton has ways you can still park yourself in a park. Dan is an outdoor education specialist with Lake Metro Park. So welcome to our show.
Yes, thank you for having us today.
Well, it's kind of hard to hike if walking is an issue. So how do you get them on the trails if somebody has that mobility issue?
Well, Lake Metro Parks is very accommodating. I mean, we run the whole gamut. People come in their youth and their middle years of life, and then of course as you get into your golden years, we have accommodations to allow you to experience everything you have throughout your entire life.
So how many people visit the parks every year?
Approximately 3 million people. We have 37 park properties. They're all very safe, all very clean, and we welcome everyone, and anything you can do as a youth, you can do as a senior citizen.
Okay, and one of the ways that you help people kind of get out on the trail are something called trail cart tours. So tell us what that is.
Well, our trail carts are, in a sense, a high-end golf cart. And we can take visitors, myself and 5 visitors, and we give you access to anything that, an able-bodied person can do. If you are interested in visiting our Girdled Road Reservation, we have a suspension bridge there. We were able a couple months ago to give a man who had never been able to walk across a suspension bridge, it was on his bucket list, an opportunity to do that. We have Chapin Forest up there. We have quarries that are part of history there, and people get to experience the quarries, see downtown Cleveland. We have a beach where we have a boardwalk, and we have the opportunity for seniors to actually get right in the lake there. We have access to the lake for them for that.
Wow, so the beach isn't off limits after all for people,
No, the beach, we have a great program there, Pancakes in the Park. We do a different park every month, and we get 200 to 300 seniors coming to visit us and try the opportunities.
All right, all right. And you've kind of embraced this role there.
Yes, it's grown on me.
And it's not your first career, right? So what's your background?
Well, I was a teacher in the Euclid City Schools for a little over 30 years there, a foreign language teacher. But I had always been volunteering a little bit in my career with the Metro Parks and doing boating programs and different things. And so when I retired, I was able to expand my possibilities.
Okay. What's your favorite thing?
I like the diversity of every day. Today we were doing a boat camp for 12 to 16-year-olds. Wednesday I was doing a program for seniors. Tomorrow night we have programs for adults and seniors. So I mean, every day is just a great experience to just do something different in the parks and embrace all that it has.
All right. It sounds like it's great for young and old, and even those with disabilities and other mobility issues.
Yes, yeah. Like I said, I think it's the parks does an outstanding job of trying to make sure that you have an experience. Okay, like I said, the parks are very safe, very clean, very accommodating. The staff is very interactive. So you can go to Penitentiary Glen, and if you're a birder, you can learn about that. If you're interested in the history of the Halley farm there, you can do that. Like I said, at Chapin, there's the quarries, the Kirtland Temple history is there, Fairport Harbor Beach. You have 2 lighthouses within 0.8.
Wow, everything.
Yeah, kayaking, like I said, we have the trail car programs get you access into 7 or 8 parks in our system where you can go deep into the woods. If you want to see anything there, it's available.
And you have sometimes scheduled items. And as we're talking about the mobility issues that people have, there's just so many ways to get your vitamin N or your nature fix in the parks. To find out more, use the information that's coming up next. And there's also Parks Plus magazine that's got the schedule of all kinds of things that are coming up for everybody, including those with mobility issues. So thanks, Dan, for taking us on kind of a little hike right here from the table.
Yes, well, we're glad. We want you to come and visit.
Find out more by calling Lake Metro Parks at 440-358-7275 or log on to www.lakemetroparks.com. Next, turn that frown upside down. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Gorge on all things garlic at the Cleveland Garlic Festival, August 26th and 27th at Shaker Square. And as you munch on garlic fries and scream for garlic ice cream, you can enjoy live music and entertainment. To sniff out the details, call 216-751-7656 or visit www.clevelandgarlicfestival.org.
New and improved, better than ever. We hear this all the time. But with the many advances made in technology, it's often actually very true. And that's truly the case when it comes to tried and true new dental techniques. Dentist Steve Marsh is here with ways technology is helping take care of your teeth. So welcome back, Steve, to the show.
Lori. Thank you.
Now, we know you've just recently celebrated 40 years in dentistry, so you had to have seen a lot of changes, particularly in technology.
And recently we've talked about materials, but technology has really changed things. So today, the state-of-the-art office has mostly digital things, whether it's impressions or x-rays and that sort of thing. So I thought we'd sort of take a mini tour of my office with lots of photos to show you what we're doing to make dentistry easier, better, and actually more accurate.
Okay, all right. So here we go with some of the pictures.
So when we have a new patient, and even our existing patients, this is an imaging room within our office, and we bring the patients in, especially on a new patient. They have different needs and different wants, just like you might do with a new client. It's sort of our due diligence. So we take images inside the mouth, on the outside, and I ask them, what bothers you? Is it the smile? Sometimes not the smile at all. Maybe they've broken a tooth. Another fascinating thing is digital x-rays. Now, in the old days, we had these little x-rays. Environmentally, they also weren't too great because it's plastic and there was also develop and fix. This is Debbie in my office showing a patient an issue that the patient's having. You can see we've enlarged it. So it helps us in terms of diagnosis. We become more accurate. And we're also able to show the patient. You know, sometimes, Lori, a patient may say, gee, I'm not having a problem. The dentist says, you know, there is a problem. This is, again, Debbie pointing to the image on a flat screen TV that we have in all our operatories, treatment rooms. Sometimes we watch TV and sometimes we use it to identify the problem. This is a patient who had a cracked tooth, not having any pain. This was Debbie able to show the patient, and now we say a picture's worth 1,000 words. It actually is. And this is the latest thing in cavity detection. It's called a caries view. So you know we talked about x-rays. A caries view, and Amy, our hygienist, is holding it into the patient's mouth. She takes a photograph with this caries view, and it has a very bright light. There's no radiation. It shows up digitally on the screen. That's a picture that Amy had taken of that patient. You can see an old silver filling, and you can see some cracks developing. So again, it makes us a much better diagnostic team, and then we can also point out to the patient, here's an area of concern. Doesn't mean we always have to fix it, but it gives us an idea of what we have. We store the images, and if you come back in a few months saying it hurts, we have a way to identify
Figure out what's going on, yeah.
Lastly, in decay detection, the diagnodent. This has numbers on it, goes from 0 to 100. So when a patient starts to have a tooth that's breaking down, we are able to put a laser tip on the tooth It measures the density of the tooth, again, at reading 0 to 100, and it tells us how dense it is. So sometimes a dentist may say, gee, there's an issue here. You don't have a problem. There may be some stain. And you can't tell as a dentist sometimes whether it's stain or decay. The Diagnonet gives us a very accurate diagnostic ability.
Wow. And how about that goop that always had to go in your mouth to get impressions? That was just awful.
So we're pretty much done with the goop. This is Tracy in our office. We have a digital scanner. You know, when we went from photos to analog to digital, we said, is it going to be better? It turns out to be much better. Same thing here. So instead of putting the goop in, this is a patient. We have our patients wear these glasses to protect their eyes from debris, whether we're doing an image or not. And she's going through the mouth, and within a minute or two, she can take a whole image. This is the back of my head as I'm looking at the image on the screen. This is the image that we use when we take impressions. From there, we then push a button, it goes over the internet, and the laboratory will print a 3D model, not pouring it up. And this is an example of a 3D model. It's light, it's accurate, and this is what we're able to use instead of the old ones. Very light, very accurate, and then the crown or veneer can be made on this. There's no expansion or contraction of materials like you have when you pour up cement. So we find that placing the crown may take a couple minutes, not so much where the dentist is adjusting height, because they're literally that much more accurate.
Wow. I wish we had more time to talk about more things, but because technology is going to keep changing, you're going to have to come back and tell us more.
And what I do want to make, it makes it easier for the patient. It makes us better diagnosticians so we can be more accurate and make the whole experience that much more pleasant for our patients.
Which is always a good thing. The techie tools and techniques aren't just clever and cool, they're also incredible advancements in dental diagnosis and patient care. To put them to use for you, give Steve a call. His number's next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, in the zone. It's time to get up and go, an exercise segment on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to show you how to do a basic body squat using our exercise bands. You ready to go?
Let's squat.
Let's do it. All right, we're going to start by standing on the center of the band. You want to make sure the band's even between both feet. All we're going to do here is we have a chair behind us just to kind of give us a guideline of how low we're going. So we're going to go ahead, squat down till our backside touches the chair, and then simply stand up. The resistance of the band is going to make it a little harder and help you work on them legs. How you feeling?
Oh, it feels good.
Excellent. Now we're looking for 12 to 15 repetitions here and at least 2 to 3 sets to build your legs. Doing good.
All right.
All right. All right, everybody. Now it's your turn to get up and go. Perfect.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 6105 Parkland Boulevard, Suite 140, Mayfield Heights, Ohio, 44124.
Okay, so you've sung the music. Do 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 do. You've said, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. We all have. But imagine, if you will, there's more to take away from this timeless TV series. Mark DeWidziak has some suggestions. Mark is the television critic for the Cleveland Plain Dealer and the author of many books, including his latest, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in the Twilight Zone. So, all right, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
You said there's lessons to be learned from the writings of Rod Serling. You kind of discovered this, or rediscovered it, I guess, by watching shows with your daughter, right?
Yeah, sometimes things are hiding in plain sight. You know, I watched The Twilight Zone as a kid, like most people first did, and I watched it and for the same reason everybody did when they're kids, for that nice spooky feeling you get at the end when the hairs in the back of your neck go up with the little twist endings. And
right.
That was, I mean, that's why I watched The Twilight Zone, and I was about 10 years old. And then, you know, as I got older, I kind of realized there's more going on here than just these kind of twist endings. Each one, this is parable storytelling.
Okay.
Rod Serling was using The Twilight Zone to put across lessons and parables, using, where have we heard that before? When have we heard that? Well, it goes all the way back to Aesop's fables. And the idea that every Aesop's fable ends the same way a Twilight Zone episode ends, with the unspoken words and the moral is. So you walked away from the Twilight Zone with a life lesson. And when I was sharing this with my daughter, when she turned 15, she'd already seen a lot of classic TV. She loved classic TV. She watched I Love Lucy. She watched the Dick Van Dyke Show. She watched the Andy Griffith Show. And when she was about to turn 15, I said, all right, you have finished your undergraduate work in classic television. It's time for you to start your postgraduate work. It's time for you to get serious. It's time for you to enter the Twilight Zone.
Okay.
And we started a forced march to the Twilight Zone. And we got to an episode called Escape Clause. And this is the one where David Wayne plays a hypochondriac who sells his soul to the devil in exchange for immortality. And anybody who has ever seen an episode of the Twilight Zone knows this is not going to end well for David Wayne. But when the episode was over, I kind of jokingly turned to my daughter and I wagged a playful finger and I said, now you just let that be a lesson to you. Always read contracts. Always read through every clause. Don't sign anything unless you know what you're signing.
Right.
And I was kidding, but after a while I kind of thought about 2008, the mortgage crisis, and how many people signed contracts not knowing what they were signing. And I turned back to her and said, no, really, I mean this. I'm serious. And so this became a running gag, because I can run a gag into the ground with the best of them. And we got to the end of every episode, and I say, let that be a lesson to you. And I'm a slow learner. After a few weeks, I kind of went, you've got a book on your hands, stupid. All you have to do is sort of extract these lessons from these episodes and put them in the book. So there are 50 life lessons.
Okay.
And
but he always used aliens and outer space and stuff. So why did he do that instead of just everyday life lessons?
Well, you have to understand, there's a famous quote that always gets misused by F. Scott Fitzgerald, that there are no second acts in American lives. It's nonsense. There's second acts all the time. We're a nation of second acts. We love second acts. And for Rod Serling, The Twilight Zone was the second act. He had started in the early 50s as one of the young lions of live television, writing for the great anthology shows like Playhouse 90 and Kraft and the U.S. Steel Hour. And in the beginning, TV was like the Wild West. They were making it up as they went along. At the end of the 50s, it's nothing but rules. And everybody's turning to him and saying, you can't say this, you can't show that, the sponsor will get upset if you do this, those stations will get upset. So he fled into the Twilight Zone as a way to get the message across. His themes don't change. His messages don't change. There's a wonderful interview with Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace, 60 Minutes fame, and it was right before the Twilight Zone aired. And you can see it on YouTube. And they're both smoking away like smokestacks. And Wallace, with this typical smirky look on his face, says to him, well, you're doing this thing called the Twilight Zone. I guess we can assume you're done with serious writing. And the camera comes in on Rod, and he's got this smile on his face because he knows he's about to put one over on him. He knows he's about to but the magician can't reveal the trick. So he basically says, yes, Mike, I'm done with serious writing, knowing he's not at all. He understood that if you surround the message with aliens and spaceships and fantasy and horror, nobody's going to raise an eyebrow. And he was absolutely right. He didn't change anything. He was still writing about war and bigotry and prejudice and ignorance. He was still writing about the same themes. And all he did was change the delivery system.
I got to read the book. Everything I needed to know I learned from the Twilight Zone. Is kind of a self-help book, but from another dimension. You can purchase a copy for yourself at local bookstores or on Amazon. My thanks to Mark for sharing these life lessons that continued to stand the test of time.
To learn more about this book or Mary's many others, click to www.markdewitziak.com. Next, rules to protect residents.
Right now, proton therapy, a revolutionary treatment for many types of cancer, is available for the first time in Ohio and only at University Hospital's Seidman Cancer Center. That's the future of cancer care. That's UH Seidman Cancer Center. Right now, the trusted experts of University Hospital's Seidman Cancer Center and the most advanced cancer-fighting technologies are in 17 community locations. That's leading-edge care, where you're most comfortable. That's UH Seidman Cancer Center.
Even while the Trump administration is trying to overhaul health care, new provisions of the Affordable Care Act are still going into effect. Many of these new rules provide nursing home residents with more options and rights than before. Here with more details is my law partner, Mike Solomon.
Hello, Lori.
So where do these new rules come from? What agency?
Well, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services published these rules, and they were finalized back in November of 2016. It's going to be, implemented over the next several years.
Okay.
And this is the first new set of rules since 1991, so it's a big change.
Oh, wow. And some of the changes are already in place, so quickly tell us a few of those changes.
Okay, so the ones that are in place, for example, visitors, you can choose when you want your visitors, and at what time, and who they are, so you have a lot of control over that. You can choose when you have your meals. They just can't set certain times for you, so you can decide when you want meals and snacks. You can choose your roommate. You know, the roommates agree. They can't just force someone on you like that. And if you have a grievance, they have to have a grievance officer who's supposed to respond in writing fairly quickly so you can get a response, and they can't punish you for that because you made a complaint. And then if you're going to be transferred to discharge now, they have to have your physician write up a report, explain why they need to discharge you, and they can't discharge you just because you're applying for Medicaid when you have that process going.
Okay, sounds like common sense. When do the rest of the rules go into effect?
Well, the rest of the rules phase in over several years, over the next couple of years. So, for example, you know, it takes the government a while to do this sort of stuff, so, you know, it just takes a while. So over the next 2 years, the rest will come into play.
Okay. And coming up, there's a new topic that we're talking about in another seminar that you're going to be participating in.
So, yes, I'm doing a seminar. The Lineweaver group, Jim Lineweaver is on the show, and he has a seminar coming up in September. We did something similar back in May, talks about financial issues and estate planning and insurance issues and how to protect your money and grow it during, you know, the upcoming times. And there are 3 people on the panel. I'm one of them, and Jim's another. They have another person in their organization. Fills up fast, so there should be a number on the screen.
Make reservations,
so
right?
Make reservations, that's right.
All right. That sounds great. And getting back to today's topic, at long last, the rules for fair and effective care for nursing home residents are coming into play. They should have been in effect a long time ago, but glad they are now. My thanks to Mike for providing us with this information. For questions, use the number that's coming up next.
Call Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.ssnplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, we'll have lots of information, sweet treats, real estate, something that's Superman, and help for pain medication. Until then, please remember to make the most of golden opportunities.
If you'd like to join our kitchen conversation, visit our website, www.goldenopportunities.tv. Like us on Facebook. Call us at 440-742-GO-TV or email us at kitchen@goldenopportunities.tv. We'd love to hear from you.
Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.